All right, everybody, good morning and welcome to the TwoSat Show. Today, I have the privilege and honor of welcoming on the very first guest to the show, and it's a very special one for me because today I'm speaking with Terrence Boyd, who represents two of my favorite things in the world, Bitcoin and football. Terrence is a goal-scoring machine who's played for great teams such as Red Bull Leipzig, Rapid Vienna, the U.S. men's national team, and he currently plays for Mannheim in the third division of the Bundesliga. We're recording this, Terrence, on November 8th, 2024, and Bitcoin is hitting all-time highs as we speak. Nation-state adoption is now fully on the table. It's game on, and Bitcoin is taking center stage. How are you feeling, man?
Ah, I mean, how would anyone feel if it's all-time high time? So I'm feeling great. I'm trying to stay humble. um, now, it's an honor to be here, but yeah, talking about all-time high right now, it's just what was it, like 6, 7 months of this just sideways chop. It's crazy, and like all the emotions you're going through right now. And to be honest, like now that we in price discovery mode, I don't really feel it much. You're kind of numb, you know what I mean? I
Yeah,
mean, it's like if you've been in this space for years, it's just crazy. But yeah, so it's a good time to record, and things couldn't have been better right now. Yeah.
that's awesome, man. Yeah, if you've been in the game for a long time, you're happy, but you're not surprised, right? Like you expect this, so you're just staying humble. You've been stacking sats, and you're just kind of enjoying the fruits of being patient.
Amen, brother. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, we just had a big election in the United States. Neither of us are, in the States, but this obviously affects, the landscape around Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, and things like that in general. How are you seeing the next few years going forward, and how do you see things playing out for us Bitcoiners?
I mean, obviously with Trump, at least at least acting like he cares about Bitcoin. Plus, I mean, he's still putting it into the crypto basket and have fun with your Bitcoins and whatnot. But like Bitcoin being a topic at a presidential election, and like, those these guys dropping the name every now and then, it's just crazy when you think about like, yeah, a few years back. And to be honest, I just hope they leave Bitcoin alone. Like, it would do its thing, and as long as there are not like crazy new laws to prohibit mining and this and that and self custody, and it's all good. So obviously it's even better if they really like. I mean, if he really goes after having a Bitcoin strategic reserve, but to be honest, I don't really buy it right now. Um, but just the fact that we're actually talking about it and he actually said it for what it's
Yeah.
worth, it's just unbelievable. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, just to have it be one of the focal points of the elections of
Yeah,
the Bitcoin conference, having representation there.
yeah.
And I know it's a very dividing subject for a lot of us, whether you really want quote unquote government adoption or not. And
Hmm.
definitely a double-edged sword, right? We're going to get a lot of
Hmm.
benefit from that in terms of number go up, but are we compromising things like sovereignty and security in some ways? That's going to remain to be seen. So, are you more of like the opinion that you'd rather them sort of endorse it, do the reserve, but other than that, just kind of leave us alone?
Well, obviously, like like we'd all welcome that they actually go after reserve, but I mean, I wouldn't be like too mad if it doesn't happen just yet, because I mean, we still know that we can't trust politicians for what it's worth. But then again, I mean, the chances are there, and man, it's just look into the future. It's just crazy, man. Like I got two daughters. Uh, and I plan on giving them, like, they both got a little stick hardware wallet that they don't know of, which they're about to be given in like 20 years. And just imagine, what's going to happen in the next 20 years. So, uh, I from for myself, I already know I did my job when it comes to inheritance because the way I think it's just like this generational thing. I'm from like a shout out Kamala Harris, working class family. Oh, I'm so happy she lost. um, uh, so the only thing I would have inherited would be debt. So,
Exactly.
but luckily I turned out to be have a soccer career where I got paid a decent amount of money to invest in. Um, yeah. So, but obviously that's the other fun part. There are like so many weird stages when you find Bitcoin. So I think the first time I've been to Bitcoin was like 2017. I think a year later because I just to be honest, I like messed up my finances a little bit, so I had to sell again. Like I got out even, but it didn't click yet. I didn't really grasp what Bitcoin is. So besides that, I also went into like all the other crypto shit, like all those little small layer two projects, this and that. Lost a lot of money, but it was just like play money. But to be honest, I don't even mind it because it's just like part of the journey. And I've read it so many times now. Like people, like what's the saying? Come for the price, stay for the revolution. It's not like I'm not really in that part to be fair, but it's like obviously I check the price and you know what kind of vehicle you just possess right now, right? But in the beginning, I had it and then I sold it and then like I went back in and once you like just put in the time to just educate yourself about it and then it just the moment it clicks it's just for every person it's crazy, man. It's just crazy. And then like once I got in it was like I think 2020 or 2021, like I can't even remember. I think it was like at that time it was like all-time high times and then we went into the bear market for like 2 years and I've been like my investment was like minus yeah a lot of red, let's put it this way. But I was convicted and I just ever since like for like the last I think like 4 years, no matter what the price was, I put a percentage of my paycheck into Bitcoin. Every big dip I got nervous because I was like, okay, I gotta invest a big chunk right now, and I was like, okay, when I get some money, you know what I mean? So and it's the same today. Sometimes I just hope it crashes like another 10K, so I just stack more. You know what I mean? And even if not, um, given that we're at all time high right now, but having the outlook and the low time preference, I know that this is not the end of the road price wise. So it's still cheap in terms of adoption. I mean, what's the there's this one cheat where it's like I think the adoption rate right now of the users is like the internet in 1997 or something like that.
Yep. Yep.
And this is insane. This is insane.
Yes. Yes, everyone thought the internet was a scam,
Mm,
something that was a fly by night. It was going to be here today and gone
yeah,
tomorrow. And look how that's revolutionized our entire
exactly.
world and our lives. And I think Bitcoin is definitely, I know Bitcoin is definitely that next step in that evolution. And you brought up so many great points from stacking for your children
Mm,
and hardware wallets and all of that. So we're going to get into all of that as we go, but one
yeah,
thing that I want to hone in on, you kind of touched on it there, is it sounds like you've changed your thinking and your approach and your conviction from I'm scared of these dips, they're scaring the shit out of me, I'm down 60% in the bear market, to please
yeah,
fucking dip, I want to buy more.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so when you bought in 2017, uh, what was it that made you buy then? And you weren't convicted, you hadn't really dove any deeper, you just bought it. What was it that first started that for you?
So it's kind of easy. Like, so as a professional football player, it's like all those guys in the locker room, like everyone is very investment friendly because we know we just earn money for like a short time of a short period of time, and you gotta let your money work for you. So obviously number one is like real estate and whatnot and ETFs. And so every now and then when like some opportunities arise, um, it's crazy how like in locker rooms, it's not this or like professional athletes like in those locker rooms, it's not like in the normal society when I talk to my parents or like I mean my wife, she knows what's up, but she's not convicted, right? And or like friends of mine. So I've been working on friends of mine for so long. You know, they always come with like, is now a good time to buy and this and but it used to be on 30K and this and that. And I'm like, man, just and you just it's the oh no, it's just crazy. And so that was the first time a teammate of mine just mentioned it, and then me and I think like two, three other guys went in. Actually, fun story. So back at that time, there was a program. I think it was his name was like USI Tech or something. So it was a platform where you could stake Bitcoin. So remember, I'm like totally new in this sector. Uh, so you stake Bitcoin and you get rewards in Bitcoin. So easy money and it just grows. You know what I mean?
The
Too
classic
good to be
Ponzi. Yeah.
exactly too good to be true. Half a year later, everything was gone and like the website didn't work out anymore. And it's just
Oh
like the
no.
dues you gotta
Yeah.
pay because it's just stupid. Like could have informed yourself better or just that's what I'm saying. Obviously, the amount of Bitcoin I lost there, and when I think about it right now, what it would have been worth. Obviously, it hurts, but then again, I'm just like I'm a guy. It's like A, money comes and goes, and B, um, yeah, it's the time in the market, and then there's a Bitcoin space. So you just learn to be calm and just accept things you can't change anymore. And it's like, okay, one thing I can't change is like my outlook on the future and how I go from here. So I wish I would have known about like hardware wallets and all that stuff at that time, but yeah, that's the
It's
way it
the
is.
cost of
So
tuition, right? You live and you learn, and people have
yeah,
lost their sats on many a thing before. So,
yeah,
you learn those lessons early. I think it's helpful because then when you
it
really
is,
grasp Bitcoin, then you're like, I'm not going to make any more mistakes that I made before. I'm going to secure my
yeah,
wealth. I'm going to have a cold storage, not only on hot wallets or exchanges. So
yeah,
that's huge. And so then you invested in it, and you said you kind of had some like financial situations where it caused
yeah.
you to sort of sell out for a break even.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, obviously I got other things going on as well, like real estate and this and that. And once every if you like, if you build a house or whatnot, so like so many extra costs and this and that. It's not part of the loan, so it's like, and so I had to get some money at that time. And then I was like, since it's just like, yeah, I still got this Bitcoin, whatever, man, just sell it, you know? So
Hmm.
yeah, but it's okay. As I said before, it's just like I'm content. I'm happy with myself. Obviously, everybody could have gotten more Bitcoin, and um, the worst part is this. Oh, I wish I would have known about it like back in 2014 or whatnot. But to be honest as well, imagine I put in like 10K in it, and it would have amounted to like 30K. I would have cashed out at that time. You know what I'm saying? And
Yep.
so because I didn't have the knowledge that I have right now or the conviction, so I'm at peace with myself when it comes to that. And to be honest as well, the last 3 years I've been like aggressively stacking Bitcoin, where like I'm like barely have money on my bank account because the first of all money on the bank account doesn't make any sense due to inflation and whatnot. So, well, it's crazy. Like, if people would have known for me as a who's getting paid good money, and if they would see my like what I got on my bank account, it would be so funny. You know what I mean? And it's crazy. Yeah,
I think that
it's
means you're
fun.
doing it right, brother. I think it means you're doing
Yeah,
it right. Yeah, I
yeah,
think there's a lot that people in your field of work, fellow athletes can learn from yourself and what you've discovered by, gaining a conviction in Bitcoin. So
Mhm.
what would you say to the teammates that might listen or other athletes, other footballers? Your time is extremely limited as an
Mhm.
athlete, and the statistics are pretty crazy. I've got some here um, for post-retirement. According
Oh yeah.
to the NFL, 78% of players experience financial problems within 2 years of leaving the league. And in the NBA, 60% roughly of NBA players are experiencing financial difficulties within 5 years
Yeah.
of retirement, which is super sad. And there is obviously a solution to that, which you've discovered. And just would love if you shared some of your learnings with some of the athletes that might listen to this.
I mean, yeah, if you're an athlete, I think everybody like work that out that like there's been so many cases of people who retired and just kept the same living standard, the same cost of living, and it's always easy to adjust to a higher salary, but downsizing is crazy. It's crazy from like one to the next day. Either you're out of the league, you're I don't know, you have to retire because you're injured, or you obviously when you retire, I mean in advance, but still. Um, Going from I don't know several ten thousands of yeah dollars or euros in a month to like I don't know 2 grand a month is is a huge difference, right? So um yeah, as I said before, so the starting years when you become a pro, I think it doesn't matter if it's like football or basketball or soccer or whatever. Um, like I kind of lived paycheck to paycheck because at that time it wasn't that crazy money that where I could have like bought a house or something. But it's like I mean I was 20 years old and you're like, yo man, I got so much money, let's party. You know what I mean? And just this is also a normal process you go through, and then like yeah, the earlier the better. When you wake up and think about like, okay, what happens after football and after your career, and as I said before, it's just so far it's always been like ETFs and real estate. And I mean, I got real estate as well, but like ever since I discovered Bitcoin for real, it's like okay, like Michael Saylor says, there's no second best. And I'm also not like ashamed to admit that I started out and went did all the shit coins and this and that as well, because it's learning by doing. And then you actually like find out yo, I think Bitcoin is the only real deal. You know what I mean? And this like, and not I can't even talk about the technical standpoint because I'm not a coder. I don't got the IQ for that. But like just reading about it, all those books, Bitcoin Standard and whatnot, it's just eye opening, and just it's another funny thing about Bitcoin. It opens up a different world, man. We just calmer, we just have different outlook on life, and we just um think about topics that you wouldn't have thought about before. It's crazy. And like obviously now being on Twitter because or X, um, yeah. So you kind of slide into a niche of people where it's like where it's totally normal to have Bitcoin, and then you just forget about the outside world, like
Yeah.
90% or even more of the world was like, yeah, they kind of heard about it, but it's a scam and this and that. And like I think all Bitcoiners knew that Donald Trump has a good chance of winning. And I just said it to you as well. I live in Germany, and like they had a poll where like who's gonna win the election. 80% voted in Germany for voted or expected Harris to win. And we just knew that like the narrative and the way all those TV stations report about the election and pro Harris, and like just censored Trump's material, like totally the Joe Rogan thing. You couldn't, I think you couldn't see the video, right? The first day or something like that. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
it doesn't natively pop up, and when you start
Yeah,
to search it, I think it's all just censored on you, and that's a
yeah,
centralized way of doing things, right? That's a
yeah,
centralized mindset, that's control structures, and it's all shit, right?
yeah,
And I think that just shows how out of touch the average person is when you have an 80% poll and yet a small niche percentage of the world, Bitcoiners, know exactly what was going to
Yeah,
happen.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
it wasn't a
crazy. Yeah.
surprise. If you were a Bitcoiner, you knew that this, for so many people, this was like a single issue
Yeah.
election, freeing Ross, and
Yeah.
that's a big one, free Ross, and just having Bitcoin be center stage and the good that it can do for the world. I think people that are, yeah, like you said, in that small niche minority, they weren't worried and they knew exactly what was going to play out.
Yeah.
So it's great to be now a few days removed from that on the other side, and
Yeah.
we haven't
True.
even really kicked off yet, and things are about to get spicy.
Hmm. That's
Yeah,
true.
man. So, I mean, not that you would ever give like financial advice to athletes, but
Oh,
if
I
you were
do.
just, all right, perfect. So when
Because
you're
I don't care. Yeah.
when you're shooting the shit with your boys in the locker room,
Yeah.
are you telling them, personal experience about Bitcoin, or are you telling them go read, the Bitcoin standard, or gradually then suddenly? Like, what are you telling
Yeah.
them to sort of say, hey, look, man, your playing career is limited. Injuries can happen tomorrow. All your livelihood can be taken away. And even if that's not the case, post retirement, that lifestyle creep is going to be there.
Hmm.
Um, how do you start to open that door for them?
So it's yeah, as I mentioned earlier, it's actually kind of easy. It's kind of easy to orange pill other professional athletes because they already know what's going on, that they have to let their money work for them. But I'm not really forcing it on them. So I drop it every now and then. Like everybody in the locker room heard about Bitcoin and they actually know, like they already know the price and everything. So when it hits an all-time high, then they come up to me and say, "Yeah, I should have bought in there." And I was like, "Man, fuck you, man. I just talked. I just spent 3 months talking to you about Bitcoin, and you still ask me every week if now is a good time." They always wait for a magical number, like, "Oh, it has to drop to 40K, then I get in." And I was like, "Yeah, whatever." So you get a feeling of people who like actually are interested, and man, I help them any way I can. I'm like in those locker rooms, like people are very transparent because we go through the same shit. So I mean, you like fight wars on the field, so it's a different bond, right? Than to a normal average working coworker. And so um, since they're all already familiar with investing, yeah, how should I put it? So I said in the beginning, I said it's easy or easier than normal folks to orange pill them. But to be honest, I moved to a new team like in this January, and out of 25 people, I think I got like 5 people who are like very interested and are close to getting in, but it's still like they got this. Obviously, it's a bad timing now with the all-time high, and that scares them, right? Because they always want to make a quick buck, and and let's say maybe 2 or 3 plus, like from the staff, 2 or 3 people I managed to get on board.
Wow.
So fun fact, so like I set up a Coinbase account for like one player, and actually I give them like a little bonus. I just send them money or send them Bitcoin. Like
Yes.
it's not life changing, but just that they see how a transaction works, this and that. That shit is KYC, obviously. Uh, Funny thing is now we have a kit man in our club, and they don't get paid as much as we do, right? So we have a special deal because like every game that you have like 2 jerseys, and once you have like let's say 5 in the season you got for free, and then the rest you have to pay like $50 or something per jersey, right? If you give them away after the game. And since we got 2, I always managed to give away both jerseys on each game day. And he's like, "Yeah, I mean, in total it's like $120, or we find a different solution." I'm like, "Dude, you're not getting fiat money, but I'm gonna pay you in sats." And I set him up.
Yes.
But this guy's like he's like the smartest dude. So I actually I actually didn't even tell him about like Coinbase. I just set up a wallet of Satoshi, and send him the sets. And I said, dude, I know you. You're too stupid for this shit. I'm not gonna teach you how to sell it.
That's a
That's
great
actually clever.
strategy.
Yeah, I said, please just read about it. I actually bought like the Bitcoin Standard. I bought it in English and in German, just to give it out to people in the locker room. You know what I
Wow.
mean? And I mean, I got no benefit. It's just like, man, I want to help my teammates. So just believe me. I said, you don't have to thank me. You can thank yourself in 10 years. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I just try every now and then, but only with the people where I know or I get the feeling, okay, they have an open ear. You know what I mean? And then you got and those fellows who are like, yeah, I'm waiting for 40K or whatnot. And then I'm just like, man, it's not worth my time. Fuck you, man. And really, don't bother me when it's another all-time high. Just fuck off. But
Yeah.
if you need help, I got you, man. I'm gonna help you set it up. I'm gonna show you everything I know. It's not much, but it's enough to store it for myself. And you know, yeah.
Those
So
are incredible.
that's a grind I've been on for the past months. Yeah,
Oh, that's
yeah. It's
brilliant.
funny.
I really
And
like
it's
that.
fun.
And
It's fun. It's actually fun. Yeah,
well, you're doing it because it's changed your life, it's changed your perspective, and like
yeah,
you said, I mean, this you're not getting a referral bonus for setting them up on Wallet of Satoshi,
yeah,
right? This is because it's fundamentally changed the way that you see and interact with the world and the system and
yeah.
whatnot. So, I think it's the best way. I agree with you. Isn't to say, hey, read this book because you and I both know fucking 99% of people can't read past 2 pages without losing their attention
Hmm.
span.
Yeah,
So these are great resources to come after, and I think just sending somebody the sats and saying, here, hold this, check in on your wallet every week or two. It's like,
exactly.
and then they start to see and understand like, oh, wait, you can send me money like instantly with like little to no fees on Lightning
Yeah,
Network. And I can, in fact, go somewhere and transact with that if I want to, or I can store my purchasing power in Bitcoin.
exactly. Yeah.
Then they start to go down that rabbit hole a little bit more. So I love that you're going as far as to just like set them right up with it and give them the sats, and then it really starts to
Yeah,
kick off from there.
exactly.
Yeah, that's
It's
brilliant, man.
actually
And
also funny, like my dad. He's like blue collar, just like I think he's a electrician, so he's on construction sites for decades now. So he's actually working, like not like me, having like fun with loving what I do and getting paid a bunch of shit for that. So and he's like 2 years back, and I got him to invest into Bitcoin. This dude also got Ethereum. I was like, man, whatever, but at least it's a start.
yep.
And then he had like, I think it was like 2 grand. And this is like his money is like really hard earned money, right? And I told him about like, um, inflation and like everything is getting more expensive, and with like the not the dollar but the euro loses in purchasing value and power. And so he had like 2 grand in Bitcoin, and then it kind of clicked for him as well. Not really, but somehow he just like out of the blue messaged me, I gotta get the stick as well. And I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll help you set it up. And I was like, to be honest, if they hack your shit, man, they're gonna leave it there. You know what I mean? They're not gonna take it. But it's like, yeah, but it's a start, and I just love it. I love to see it. So much fun. Yeah,
That's amazing, man.
yeah,
I've been trying to orange pill my family as well, and you nailed it earlier when we were talking before the show as well.
yeah.
It's a totally different it's a totally different game, to try to influence those that you love.
You
They
know,
just don't
so
listen.
yeah, sorry to interrupt you. So I like all my close friends, those are the guys where I'm like really like, dude, seriously, I'm gonna punch you in your face, man. I'm gonna give you money. I'm gonna set it up for you, or like you
Yeah.
obviously if it's a proper exchange, you have to KYC and whatnot. They gotta do it, but I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna give you money. Just buy some every now and then, and just please just keep it. Just keep it, man. And they're like, to be honest, the success rate of my close friends is very high. And then, but if you have like neighbors or people you just like, not your closest ones, but just friends, and they are always coming up with those same lame excuses. This feeling is it's so hard, man. You know what I'm talking about, right? It's like, man, I'm
100%.
not doing this for me, man. I'm doing this for you, man. You're gonna just be so happy in a couple of years. Oh, it's just. I actually had another friend, close friend. Oh, I still have him. Uh, and I also sent him money. He got an exchange. He got an account. I sent him money, and he sold that shit like half year later. And I'm just so disappointed, man, because it's not like this him taking the money, cashing it out. It's just like just give it a try, man. I just listen to me and just keep that shit for years to come, man. But
Yeah,
it's
it's
part of the
hard. I
game.
know you just want
Yeah.
to just take them and shake them and say, "Fucking listen
Yeah.
to me, man. I'm doing this
Wake
for you."
up.
But
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, I know it's very,
Yeah.
very tough. But it's good that that you're trying, and eventually it's going to stick with some people, and you can go from
Yeah.
there. But it
I,
really is frustrating to watch them
it
not
is.
listen. And you're
Uh,
like you said, you're only doing it for their benefit, but
yeah.
it is what it
Sorry,
is.
I got an 8-year-old daughter, and since Bitcoin is such a big topic at home, to be honest, I watch a lot of shit and read a lot of shit about it, and so my wife lets me do whatever I want to do. She listens to everything, but she's not really enthusiastic. And so my 8-year-old comes up and is like, yo, how many Bitcoin do we have? This and that. And I'm like, we don't have any. Because I know she's a little chatty patty and she's going to talk about it in school. And this is always, I just love it. I just love it, but we don't have any. You know what I mean? And little does she know that in like 20 years. So I actually had, for both my daughters, I had an ETF.
Okay.
And then like, I think 2 years ago, I was like, just calculating or like, looking to the future, like, having like just an outlook on the future and with Bitcoin and whatnot. And I was like, nah, man. And I just bought like two treasure sticks, split it, like sold the ETF, split the cash in half and just bought them like sats in this amount of what the ETF was worth. And now they're gonna get
Amazing.
it in 20 years, and I think it's gonna do a pretty good job compared to the ETF. If I would have, left it in the ETF, yeah,
That's a no-brainer, man.
yeah,
It's also in my experience, in my opinion, what I believe is that it's far better for you to do it that way for them because you're going to be able to teach them about privacy, security, self-sovereignty, freedom,
yeah,
the core tenets of Bitcoin, really. It's great that the value in 20 years is going to be astronomical, but it's equally, if not more important, that they understand why they have such a valuable asset and what to do with it so that they don't immediately get it and sell it like,
yeah,
friends and
exactly,
whatnot do. So that's awesome.
yeah. And
Yeah.
and the price thing. So it's another thing. Like obviously you were like crushed when it went down and happier when when it pumped. But I mean, figured that out already. That like when it goes down now, the only problem I got is okay. I need some euros. I need some cash. It's just so I can stack harder. But uh, I don't feel ashamed to say like obviously the price does matter for me, but it's not like when I came in, I would have probably been like the first time before I cashed out, I would have probably been like, yeah, man, I'm gonna buy me a sweet car with the profit, right? And now it's just like, that's actually a funny thing. I told my wife that like how our Bitcoin stack performed, and she's like, yeah, great, but as long as I don't see it on the bank account, like it
Yeah.
doesn't like it's not worth anything, something like that. And I'm like,
Always.
baby, like we don't want money in our bank account, man. I'd rather buy mattresses and invest in mattresses, you know what I mean, than have it on a bank account. And that's actually funny. So and now it's like a different outlook because um I might sell some or trade some Bitcoin for a house with a like super relaxing loan to take out, and you could easily pay off. but that's the only thing I could imagine trading Bitcoin in for. You know what I mean?
That's
And that's
great.
crazy because like it's not obviously everybody would love to drive a Lamborghini and this and that, but I'm like, and I actually, yeah, yeah. So in but it's like I don't have the urge anymore because the more you like dive into into this rabbit hole, it's like it's not what it's about. Plus, obviously, I mean, got two kids. I'm not flashy anymore. You're back in your early 20s, but it's crazy how calm you get, man.
Yeah, that was one of the things I wanted to dive deeper on with you today is I know it's changed my whole outlook on how to approach every day and every year and my whole
Mm-hmm.
future. And I think if you really hold Bitcoin, for any significant period of time, like you can't avoid that. So how do you have any like specific examples? You kind of touched on it, but that your time preferences have changed, the way that you operate and spend money and the way that you go about your life. Because I know with athletes, there is that lifestyle creep where, you're getting paid to do something you love. And so, like you said, versus your father, that money comes a lot easier. Not that you have
Mm-hmm.
it's not a cakewalk, but it's
Yeah.
easier than someone who's banging a hammer or
Yeah.
roofing or something like that. So what has it done for you in terms of changing the way you approach life?
Bitcoin itself, or you talk about the price? Like
Yeah,
how do you mean
buying
it?
Bitcoin itself and storing your wealth and your value in there instead of fiat.
Yeah, I mean, just having the low time preference is just something that completely changes you. And I got like a more peaceful outlook on life when it comes to the future and the future for my kids. You know, it's they always say on Simply Bitcoin, I think, like buy it for your last name, not your first name, this and that. And compare. I'm like born 1991 compared to how I was raised and like how like the state of the world back then and now. Back in those days, my mom, was like you had like a summer break and you were like 8 years old. My mom kicked me out in the morning and said, "Come back when it's dark." You know what I
Yeah.
mean? My mom
Yeah.
didn't know shit where I've been the whole day and just kicked the ball and did this and did some stupid shit and whatnot. But everything was more like, safe for this and that. Now I got two girls
Yes.
and like we are literally walking them to school and back every day. My mom
Yes.
used to bring me to school on the very first day in elementary school. It's
And that
like,
was
yeah, okay,
it.
you know the roads? Okay, so see ya. You know what I mean? um, Plus, all the stuff you hear in the media, all like everything got more dangerous, this and that, blah blah blah, wars, etc. Everything is like going crazy. The whole world's going crazy. Plus, like the society itself, and I think John Coffey summed it up best in Green Mile. Remember the part where Tom Hanks was about to the night before he got executed, where he wanted to release him. Can you
I'm actually
remember?
not a big, I've never seen the movie. I'm
Ah,
not a
okay,
movie
okay.
person.
Doesn't matter, doesn't matter. And like, so he wanted to free him because he was actually a good guy and he wasn't the murder, okay? And the next day he's gonna get executed. And he wanted to set him free, the prison guard. And then he just declined and said, "No, no, boss. I'm tired how ugly the people are to each other." And this is like, I think the peak was COVID, where I
Yep.
was like, in my mind, I was like, man, I want to get out of the city. I mean, I never really lived in the cities. I live in like suburbs, but like, I want to live on the land, man. I want to live in the country. I want to get a ranch. I don't know how to. I'm not handy. I don't have a green thumb, but I want to learn. I just want peace. I want a ranch and maybe have one chicken and just
Yes.
live my life
Yes.
in peace. And
Love
um,
it.
yeah, so it's crazy like the transition you take once you get into on this big adventure, man, and just inform yourself, starting with informing yourself, and then it's like, huh, and then you want to learn more about it, and the funny things, I mean, I've spent so many hours just like I don't know if you can call it studying Bitcoin because it's not from a technical standpoint. I tried to read the white paper like 3 times. It's above me, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
but uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's crazy just from lifestyle and philosophical standpoint how much peace Bitcoin brings to you in your life, man.
That's
Yeah.
beautiful, brother. I love that. You went from
Yeah.
let me get a Lamborghini and ball out. I'm a
Yeah.
rich young
Yeah.
stud to like, man, I want some fucking chickens and solar
Uh,
panels and just to
And
stack
peace.
sats, keep my
Yeah.
family happy and safe. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that seems to be like almost a universal thing for a lot of Bitcoiners, especially the ones
Hmm.
that quote unquote get it. They do the research and they hold long term. It's like they just want a better world. They want peace. They want unity, and
I
they
mean, you're a
that's
good
it.
example right now. I mean, you already spoke about like where you live and whatnot, right?
That was
Not
before
that.
we hit record, but
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
but yeah,
yeah,
but everybody knows, right? So
yeah, yeah. So
okay, so you moving from Canada that goes to shit right now, and just having like, having a peaceful life in Mexico, man, enjoying the sun, the beach, and just,
yeah.
being left alone and just, minding your own business. This is a win, man. This is great. This
Yeah,
is great. Yeah.
the weight that comes off of your shoulders when you're actually free to think creatively now and pursue, things like having this conversation and
Yeah.
networking and meeting people of like mind and but maybe different paths, but we all kind of converged on Bitcoin, We
Hmm.
have that ability because we stack sats. We're not
Yeah.
working, 12-hour shifts every day. It really
Hmm.
changes your trajectory in life and what you're able to contribute to the world if you're not worried about your next dollar.
This and plus, I mean, obviously it's a character thing, but like I think those people getting rich in Bitcoin, I think the percentage of them actually doing good things with their time that they earn then. You know what I mean? The freedom you earn with being like not that dependent on like your next paycheck.
Yeah.
I think the percentage of people doing good in the world is must be so much higher than other people who just, win the lottery or whatnot, because it's just like, okay, I got what I learned first before Bitcoin is being rich means being in control of your time. And okay, what I'm gonna do now, because I think no one really wants to chill and have vacation for the rest of his life, because everybody needs a purpose or something to do, right? To help
Yeah, yeah.
your to have just to have a job in the society and have a meaning. And that would be a plan for myself as well. Even if it's coaching soccer, or if it's, I don't know, uh, some charity stuff, or like because it was like the fire movement, financial
Yep.
independence thing.
Retire
Yeah,
early.
that
Yep,
was
yep.
yeah, that was way before I got to know Bitcoin. And then they had like those barista fire people, who like, and I
Yes.
love that shit, man. They were like, they don't have to work a single day in their life, and they just take a part-time job. And then I just read it on Reddit, and then they were like, he was working so good, and customer service was so great. They like a few months later, they offered him to manage the store, and he was like, "No, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'll go back to the dishwasher." You know what I mean? And that was so. I was lost for words. I was like, man, that's fucking unbelievable. It's great. That's great.
Yeah.
Those people are at peace with themselves. They're happy to the customer. They're happy to, you know what I mean. You're less
Yes.
prone to like snapping and doing some stupid shit, or being triggered. And everybody is like, even nowadays, or every person got so much pressure on themselves. Just like caring, providing for your family, your job, this and that, and so it doesn't take much for you to snap, and in
Yeah.
whatever way
Mental health
possible.
is in a
And those
bad
guys are
spot.
at peace. They just chilled, man. This is nice.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I think mental health for the general population is at like an all-time low, and that's evidenced by all
Yeah.
the medication pushing and the just the you
Hmm.
can I mean you can tell. I mean, walk down the street in a lot of the major cities in the States and it's fentanyl and drug overdoses and crime and
Yeah.
I mean that is a symptom of a broken society and the broken money that society
Yeah.
depends on and I think it's very sad and so it's very awesome when and powerful when people kind of
Yeah.
they don't have to think about that. And you and I are actually the same age, and
Ah,
I
cool.
also kind of started looking into all of this stuff in that fire movement back on, on Reddit and other things, and that's where
Hmm.
I first started to get interested in, okay, the 4-hour work week and
Yeah.
having control of your time and your life is actually the definition of being rich.
Yeah.
And I think that is brought to the pinnacle with Bitcoin. Like you just can't get
Yes,
a better
sir. Yes,
asset.
sir. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah,
It's
that's
crazy,
awesome.
man.
It's funny that
Yeah.
you start to look at these things and they start to open your mind, but you're still operating on a broken financial system with fiat, and so it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't really solve the problem.
Yeah.
And I love those people that are, they don't have to work a stressful, like, more money, more problems, right? Like, yeah, you moved up, you moved up, you moved up, but then you go home and you yell at your kids or you yell at your spouse, and it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
the fuck was the point of all of that, man? Like, okay, you're a
Yep.
big shot with a big paycheck, but you hate your life, and your free time is filled with stress, anxiety medication. Like that's just not good. And I think if you
Yeah.
polled the amount of Bitcoiners, that need mental health services, medication, things like that, versus the people that are high up in
Mm-hmm.
corporate, like, there's going to be a huge difference there, a huge divide.
100%. Yeah. And
Yeah.
this is crazy. Like, all because you just stumbled on Bitcoin through, I don't know, coworker, friend, this and that. And if you really give it a chance and just, dive into it and just, read, I don't know, start with the Bitcoin Standard, or like back in the days, also, what's his name? Andreas Antonopoulos,
Yep.
also freak.
Incredible.
Crazy. But hey, is it true that he like also did like other stuff as well, like other crypto projects?
Yeah.
Because
Now
that's
it
so
looks like.
why?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess people, I mean, I can't speak for why any of these people really do it unless they say it publicly, but you just imagine that, I guess, the
He's
incentives
MIA,
change.
right? Nobody's seen this dude for years, but somebody said like, or somehow somewhere read that like he's like also like affiliated with others like shitcoin projects and this and that. But
Shitcoins.
like, but he
Yeah.
was like the Jesus, man. He like the way
Yep.
he like explained Bitcoin was crazy. But like, what was it? 10
Yeah.
years back was crazy.
Yeah, I actually
Yeah.
have recently been going back and watching all of those speeches in the empty rooms where he
Hmm.
was, it's like, wow, what a visionary, and
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
in circles like yours, like, you're spreading that message in your way. Like, we are still
Yeah.
early. You might
We
not
are.
believe it listening now at the all-time highs, but we are still
Yeah.
incredibly early because of how few people really understand the principles of the system that they are living in, and that's keeping them in this perpetual cycle of struggle and anxiety and
Yeah.
depression. It's the system,
And
and
it's
until you
sad.
step
It's so
outside.
sad because there's a difference between a Bitcoiner and somebody who got rich doing something else. Like, I don't think the rate of like jealous people within the Bitcoin community is it should be so low because we want to see others do good, do well as well. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
I'm not like, haha, I told you about it and you didn't get in, and now I made this 100x or whatever. No. It's not. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be happy if one of my friends missed out on such a big opportunity and still has to bust his ass at work for like until he goes into retirement. And I don't know how it is
It's sad.
in Canada or in Mexico, but in Germany we won't get shit when
Yeah.
once we retire compared to my grandma, for example. And there's another thing, man. That's what I'm saying. Like, we actually just try to help you so you can thank yourself later. You don't have to do shit for me, man. I like you. That's why I keep stressing you about Bitcoin. Give it a chance.
Yeah,
Yeah. But
you'd
they think it's a
rather
Ponzi scheme. Yeah. So
you'd
many
rather
people still
celebrate
think that.
together. You'd rather celebrate
Exactly.
together than be like, "Hey, I told you so." And I think that's a unique quality to a lot of Bitcoiners. I mean, like you said, we're all taking care of our own pastures, our own lives, right? And we tell other people out of love and respect and
Exactly.
appreciation, and
There's a
it's not
sorry,
flexing.
there's a
Go ahead.
UK rapper Dave. If I don't know if I can do it correctly, but he said like some like one line was, what's the point of being rich when your family ain't? It's like flying first class in a crashing plane. You get me?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, yeah, it's just
yeah,
perfectly summed up. Yeah. Man,
yeah.
it's ah it's it's so and it's such a weird feeling like now that we hit all-time high, and now like some friends text you, man, and you actually told me about it and this and that, but they still don't want to get in. That's the hard
Yes.
part about it. I'm like, yeah, obviously, I get that you're scared of the price right now because I told you like when it was like 10K cheaper. I get it, but
Yeah.
like it's still not. It's still not too late, but how do you want to tell those people like when it's breaking all-time highs? It's
Uh,
crazy.
In my
Yeah,
experience, brother, like those are the people that if they did buy now, they would sell during the bear market when they go, "Oh, it's down 60%, my investment's falling apart."
100%.
So it's like yeah, you're just banging your head against the wall, and maybe just, we
Yeah.
leave them be.
Yeah, I actually had one Bundesliga player, like a close friend of mine, and I orange, but it's not orange pilling because he still didn't really get it. Talk to him about Bitcoin. He was like in my living room, and that's how you see how flexible professional athletes are, right? So he's like, yeah, man, sounds good. So he took out his credit card and just went on Coinbase and bought Bitcoin worth 100,000 euros.
Wow.
And I was and like literally, what happened next? It
Oh
dips,
yeah.
it fucking crashed, and, and that's a kind of bad feeling because he didn't really get it already, right?
Yes.
But we
Yeah.
are very close friends, so and then like funny thing is like a year later, I was like, yo, dude, you still got those bitcoins, right? And he's like, nah, man, I sold it, and I was
Oh
like,
yeah.
like
Story as
probably
old as time. Yep.
yeah, probably lost like 20 to 40K. I don't know, but man, it's like, man, and now it would have been like those 100K would have been easily been like 300K right now. I don't know. It was back
Yep.
in 2019, I think. I don't know.
Oh my
It's
God.
crazy, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. You can buy Bitcoin, but it doesn't mean you understand Bitcoin. And so,
That's the
yeah.
part with no financial advice, man. Because I was feeling guilty as hell, man. I was like, yo, that shit crashed like 10K below, the next day. It's crazy.
Of course, when you go to
Yeah.
then tell them, hey, it's the bear market, now's a great time to start DCAing, they're like, nah,
Yeah.
man, it's a scam, it's a
Exactly.
Ponzi. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man, it's a story as old as time, but
Yeah.
man, you're doing Satoshi's work, so to speak. You're doing great work, and I
Yeah,
know
I
the
mean, if
people that
every
do
Bitcoiner,
listen.
yeah, if every
Yeah,
Bitcoiner does just in his little word, his little work to try to orange people, some guys, I mean, I already had some success stories. They didn't get rich or something, but like they actually kept on stacking, and this is a huge win in the years to come, right? And yeah, it's just what gives me hope. Yeah.
that's fantastic, man. Well, we're almost coming up on an hour, and I feel like we could go hours more, but I want to
Oh
respect your
yeah,
time.
that was quick. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
are you cool if we just go over like maybe two more questions, and then we
Yeah.
can
Oh,
wrap this up?
yeah. Of course.
Awesome. Uh, you're a little bit more experienced now in how you approach Bitcoin. Soccer contracts or sports contracts. I'm not clear on how the payouts work, if they're all at once or if they're divided up over the course of a season or whatever, or the course of the contract. How do you approach Bitcoin? Like, do you trade it? Do you DCA? Do you just throw big chunks in, or like just sort of go over how
It's a
your
mix.
personal approach is?
Yeah, that's what I've been doing for the last 4 years, I think. It's a mix so I DCA plus a chunk with every dip.
Okay.
Every like major dip where I'm like, okay, that's good enough. It went down like, I don't know, 5K. Yeah, let's go. And but other than that, for like 4 years, like we get paid every month.
Okay.
So every time a paycheck comes in, it for like 4 years, it didn't matter what the price was. I had like a fixed amount that I set for myself. I was like, okay, I'm gonna DCA every month. I don't care if it's
Amazing.
crazy high or crazy low. But obviously, if it's crazy low, then I try to get more cash in. Yeah. So yeah, that
Sure.
was my approach.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fantastic, and it pays dividends to approach it that way. So,
Yeah.
uh, you had to do that out of your own testicular fortitude, your own balls, your own conviction.
Yeah.
Kids
The
don't
first year was
pay you.
hard because I started right into a bear market, and I was like, but the good thing was like that every day I read more about it, my conviction got even bigger, and I was even happier during those bear markets. Obviously, we all want to see 100K being slashed right now, or like 500K, whatever. Of course, long term, we all want to see it, but like that's a nice feeling. If you know you just know you're right.
Yeah. Yeah, you
And
just
so
know.
when it's bear market, it's like, yeah, bring it on. The only problems I got in bear markets is how do I get more cash to stack? You know what I mean? It's
Yeah, buddy.
crazy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
So sort of the last thing I was curious about is I know like a lot of teams have launched their own shit coins over the last cycle, like Inter Milan token and
Ah,
Atletico
yeah, yeah,
Madrid had
yeah.
a token. So, there is some collusion or interest or whatever in crypto and football. But have you ever approached any of the teams that you've played for to pay you in
Actually,
Bitcoin, or how does that
ah,
look?
no, I haven't. Because I mean, to be honest, I could have tried, at least tried to, so they actually think about it. But um, to be honest, I'm also a little bit A, too lazy, and B, I don't know. I don't know. I know too little about it, how to really set it up. What are the firms? Because I know of one firm. Uh, uh, there are so many companies that there's one company that has got a big name where you can get paid in Bitcoin with your employer, but I can't remember right now. So, but to be honest, I already knew or know that as of right now, the answer would be no. Actually, I did try my last two clubs. I always went to, um, yeah, those guys who had not like the chairman, but like those guys who had a saying in the club.
Yep.
And I was like, yo, why don't you guys just accept Bitcoin as a payment form for like the tickets or the merchandise, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but it's always like they always come with the same lame excuse, like, ah, no, it's got to go through him, and then if I go to him, it's like, nah, it's actually his department, and nah, it's too hard, and this and that. Everybody's has heard about it, but like they're all too scared, and yeah,
Yeah, that makes
it's
sense.
still a
It's
long journey. But just imagine if like those stadiums were like, I don't know, with a capacity of 50,000 or 40,000, and now like you just accept Bitcoin as a payment form, man. Obviously, me for myself, I would have never. That would be the highest amount ever paid in my life if I paid for a soccer game in Bitcoin, man. But that's why I never use. I also don't use sats to buy coffee because like this shit
yeah,
is way too valuable to just spend on coffee. I take fiat, right?
absolutely.
But then again, in terms of adoption, if I would happen to see like a shop accepting it, I might actually pay in sets, but it's not the case in where I live in Germany right now. So
Yeah,
because
there's so much
it's a different
bureaucracy
feeling if
and
it's a different feeling if I just buy like transfer like euros or convert euros to sats right now in the store and pay in
yes, yes.
sats,
Yeah.
then it's coming off my safe stack, right? Because I'm not gonna touch it, therefore just pleasure, ain't no way. But yeah, but in
My
terms of
man.
adoption, I would try it, but we don't really have any shops that accept it. So yeah,
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 fair enough. All right, those are awesome insights for sure. And I agree. I mean, you want to do your part, but I mean, I'm the same way. The only way I would really want to spend my sats is I'm turning my fiat dollars into Bitcoin to then
yeah,
transact. And I
exactly,
think
yeah,
there's a
yeah,
huge, I think that's it's a really powerful idea, the Bitcoin circular economies. And in my personal business in fitness and nutrition, I've switched to encouraging clients, hey, if you can pay me in sats, amazing. That's what I want. And any new
yeah. This
clients,
is
I
up.
encourage them to pay me in Bitcoin. And so when you see a merchant or somebody that's selling something that you want and they tell you they prefer to be paid in Bitcoin, they're telling you something. And if you want their service or their product, I think it is a very noble thing to do to, turn
Yeah,
some shitcoin fiat into Bitcoin and
true.
pay for it that way.
I mean, obviously it is, but since we ain't got any shops that accept it, I never really thought about it that much because, as I said before, now I actually would straight into the shop. I would buy sets to spend it then. But yeah, from your standpoint. I mean, yeah, it would be. I would love to accept Bitcoin as a form of payment. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then
Well,
how do most of your clients react when you say it? Like, uh, is it the case that they've never heard about it, or they actually most of them heard about it before?
yeah, I mean, most of my clients are in their 50s and 60s, and so
Mm.
they only know one system and one way of thought, and so
Yeah.
they're like,
Okay.
it's very foreign, but I'm always willing, like you are, I'm always willing to educate them. I'm always willing to say, hey,
Mm.
I will spend the hour to help you understand this, set up a
Nice.
wallet, buy
Nice.
it, and send it to me because this is something that's worth doing. And if you don't really care enough to understand it for yourself, totally fine. We'll just get you set up and you can just, transact that way with me.
Yeah, but you already did one important part is like just having it in the back of their minds. Like, why this guy didn't want it, want to accept Bitcoin, man? And then maybe they take that shit home with them and like, wait, let me read into it. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's
Absolutely. Yeah.
great.
Yeah, a lot
Yeah.
of them do start to wonder that, and they start to go, well, and like they start to say, well, yeah, there are weird problems in society, and yeah, my money doesn't go as far, and okay,
Yeah.
okay, all right, because if you had a bought, I mean, if I had taken one client's payment for a 3-month contract back in COVID in that big dip and bought one Bitcoin, I mean, we would have gone from $3,000, $4,000 to where we're at now at
Yeah.
77 grand. It's like
Yeah.
your $3,000 payment from that client could never appreciate that. I mean, it's losing value every day, every second that you're holding
Yep.
it in your bank account. So it's a complete mind shift. It's a flip of a switch, and I think very few people get it, but it is starting to happen, and more people are going to put those feelers out there and try to encourage people to pay in hard money instead of
Hmm.
fiat.
Yeah, that is
Yeah,
true.
man. Awesome. Well, look, Terrence,
Yeah,
I
nice.
appreciate you taking the time. Thanks for being the first guest on the podcast
It's been an
and
honor.
sharing so
Yeah.
openly.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it. It was
Awesome.
fun.
I hope some of your colleagues and other athletes that are listening to this take Terrence's experience and act on it, or even hit you up. Where can people hit you up if they want to learn more about your perspective?
What's my Twitter handle? I think it's tboyd91. Um, yeah, man, and
Yep.
I just want to say, man, for everyone who's not into Bitcoin yet, just just give it a try, man. Just pick up a book, or just, you don't have to pick up a book. Go on Reddit, go on Twitter, type in Bitcoin, uh, read the Bitcoin standards, YouTube, everywhere, man. There's plenty sources to just inform yourself and just give it a try for yourself, and then yeah, it's up to you, to decide, man. So yeah,
That's
I don't
amazing
know, man.
advice for everybody. Get your hands dirty, get out there,
Yeah,
start researching, and see what Bitcoin can do for you.
exactly.
So you
Yeah,
can follow Terrence at Twitter or X at
yeah,
tboyd91.
yeah,
I suggest everybody go and show this man some love for being on the pod, for sharing so openly and transparently his story, and follow his season in the Bundesliga.
yeah, man. Appreciate it.